First and foremost, my condolences to Alton Sterling's family. My condolences. What I'm about to say is not politically correct. It is not for the soft and the weak-minded and the SOS, the stuck on the stupid. But why is it, and I've been saying this for years, so don't get up on here, and I know it's all gonna come, but still, I'm strong, I'm thick-skinned, and it does not matter. You Uncle Tom, you sellout nigga, you ain't nothing but a punk, you ain't nothing but a buster. Let me explain something to you. Why is it, and I have to talk with clarity because there's some SOSs out there. Why is it that a black man's life is only valuable when the police does something? Explain that to me. Explain it. How is it that a black man's life is only valuable and it only gets recognition when the police does something? What happened to Alton Sterling happens in your community every single day. Every single day that happens in your community. But it's a problem when the police does something. And I started thinking, and I was asking God, why is it that black people only wake up to their senses when the police does something? And you know what came to me? It's like the word nigga. We use it on each other and it's okay. But when someone else does it or says it, oh God, it's a problem. Look how far we've gone. Look how low we've gone. Look how oppressed we are. Look how trapped we are. Where we don't even know what we do to ourselves. Look at us. Look how low we've gotten. The only way a black man's life is valuable when the police does something. When we do it, it's just one less Negro off the street. Explain that to me, you blind sheep. Because until we fix what's wrong with us, this is going to keep happening. Just like I said from years back. It's time for us to wake up, and it starts with us. I've been saying that. I ain't going nowhere because I'm anointed by the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. I wish any of you would come at me sideways. I'll light you up like the 4th of July. I dare any of you to come at me sideways. I'll light you up like the 4th of July. And that's the God knows truth, spiritually speaking. Because God wants us to wake up and come to our senses. A black man's life is only valuable when the police and white people do something. But when we kill them, one less nigga we gotta worry about. Let's be real. Let's be real. Jesse Williams at the BET Awards, brother, let's be real.
My opinion, my commentary on what you guys have just heard. And let me qualify myself just for a moment. I'm somebody that grew up in the black neighborhood. I am a black man. And as a black man, I also lived in a black neighborhood as an adult male with a good paying job. I've seen firsthand the cruelty and the violence that we perpetrate upon ourselves. So I think that qualifies me to be able to express my opinion about the black experience. And as this brother emotionally asked the question, why is it a black man's life only seems to have value when the police, specifically white police, do something to him? Why is it that we can call each other nigger, but when somebody outside our culture does it, it's suddenly intolerable? This is confusing to me. Not long ago, we demanded that people outside our culture stop calling us niggers. We demanded and got that we no longer wanted to be referred to as Negroes because nigger, from our point of view, was just a slang derivative of Negro. And anybody that was calling us nigger was trying to demean us. So what do? We turn around, we create our own slang derivative of Negro, and nigger is just with an A. Nigger with an A is just a slang derivative of Negro, just like nigger is a slang derivative of Negro. So what we demanded and got from the white man, we in turn around, and we demanded that he stop calling us this and stop referring to us as this. And then we turn around as if we afflicted by some kind of self-hate, and we create our own slang derivative of Negro, nigger. That's what nigger is. It's a slang derivative of Negro, for those of you that don't know. And we justify calling each other this by saying it's a term of endearment. That's confusion. This is confusion to me. I'm annoyed as if I'm being subjected to some kind of continuous hissing sound that just won't go away. How is it that a brother's life suddenly has meaning and value to us in the black culture when he is the victim of police brutality? White police brutality, to be specific. All the while, we ignore the facts like the ones in this video that clearly convey that it is our own culture that is carrying out systematic genocide upon us, we the people. This is head shaking and hissing stuff. I'm confused. And so is everybody else outside of our culture. We have become a group of people, a nation, that when other nationalities pass us by, their heads wag. Their heads wag for us, not in disgust, but in dismay. Because you can almost see it in their face, as if they were saying verbally with their mouth, why can't they see that they are their own worst enemy? The numbers, they say, speak for themselves. They say, I say, Lord, have mercy upon these people whom you have hexed with a hissing, a confusion. There's a proverb that reminds me of all this. And I'll substitute one word because I don't want to offend anybody's sensibilities. But the proverb goes like this. If you were born into dung, and dung is all you know, then dung will be your home until you're exposed to something different. And even then, the fear of leaving the familiar for the unknown will be so great that dung most likely will remain your home. After all, shit is what you're comfortable with. How is it that royalty has failed so far? Why has the regal become the ridiculous? God says he is the reason. 1 Kings 9, 7 through 9. Israel is the believers in the promise. That's stated in Romans 9 and 8. So God is not talking about Israel, the nation. He's talking about Israel, the believers. And if you're a believer in the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, you are an adopted Israelite. Some of you that are biblically illiterate, if you are a believer in the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, then you are an adopted Israelite. You have been grafted into the family of the Jew. Therefore, God said in 1 Kings 9, verses 7 through 9, that when his people turn away from him, he would hex them with a hissing. And a hissing is just an uninterrupted, continuous, annoying sound that leads to a state of confusion to where you can't make out head from tail. And sitting and standing from where I'm standing, we seem to be plagued with a hissing. Even though facts are staring us right in the face as to who is the worst enemy of us, and we cannot see our way to even sit down and entertain the possibility that we are our own worst perpetrators. But I'm telling you, just as the brother said, until we turn our focus inward instead of outward, we are never going to see our way out of this. And we'll continue to mire and muck around in dung. And until we turn our attention inward instead of outward in our search for answers to our cultural dilemmas, we will continue to ask for money and resources to minimize the smell of our own dung. You would think with all the resources that we have been given, some of this dung would have been cleaned up by now. But the smell of our own dung is worse now than it has ever been in my adult lifetime. There was a time when we strove to be better than them in every way humanly possible. We had to in order to just get a chance. Who lowered the bar? Now we strive to be on par and equal. And according to many of you, we have arrived in some ways. For example, some of you say that black on black crime is proportional to that of white on white crime. If this be so, then in terms of violence, we are now on par with them. But I remember a time when this wasn't so. I remember a time when violent crime amongst us was half that of them. I remember a time when entire black communities had little to nothing with just a few exceptions. But all slept with the front door unlocked and the key in the ignition of the car. I dare you to try this now. What has happened to us? I remember when most of us had little to no material possessions, but we were rich in civility one towards another. Someday, somehow, somebody, I pray, will start a movement where we all take a turn standing before a mirror so we can see the enemy and for once and for all realize that it is me and I am it. And then maybe we can use the money and the resources to clean up our mess instead of minimizing the smell. But as long as we willingly remain oblivious to our own dung, we will never be able, with credibility, to ask anyone outside of our culture to clean up theirs. Once we led from the front, like royalty should. Once we were a culture admired and replicated. We were the high bar, the gold standard of cultures. These things are historical facts. These are the times I pray for the return of. I long for the hissing to stop and the pushing from the back by our so-called leaders, claiming to be out front all the while pushing us from the back. This is the way of the pimp and the mass merchandiser. the ones who have learned how to take our cultural confusion and turn it into capital to fill their pockets. 2 Peter 2 and 3 is true and must be prophetic, for it says, and through covetousness, which is greed, shall they with feigned or made up words make merchandise of you. Yeah, the Bible, even the Bible, a 2,000-year-old plus document, says that a time will come when your own will make merchandise out of you using mere words. Wake up, people. You've been had. The social pimp is transforming your confusion into capital. And the only way you can stop them is by turning your attention on you and becoming the change that you want to see in another. For if we cannot become that which we expect and wish to see in another culture, then that which we expect and hope to see outside of our culture is too big even for us. What we want must begin and end with us. This does not get fixed from the outside. This is and always has been an inside job.